Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about with this image is how I retouch. I'm using Photoshop CS4. Any other earlier version would definitely work for what I'm about to show you. But when I am trying to retouch images, getting ready to send them to the printer, the first thing that I want to do is kind of work on the skin. This is just a straightforward image of my pretty sister, and I haven't done anything. It came right out of the camera this way, so this was a studio shot. The first thing that I'm going to do is take a snapshot over here in my history palette. See the little camera right here? I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. That's way too high. I usually like mine if I'm going to touch up the face on about 9. The higher you bring this little slider up, the blurrier your image gets, which could be great if you're doing something creative, a marketing piece or collage or something like that. But for the purposes that we are talking about right now, retouching, I like to keep it at about 9. I'm going to make another snapshot down here. I'm going to put a check mark on my second snapshot, and I'm going to highlight this area right here, the box of the snapshot. This kind of allows me, now I've got two different layers, if you will. I'm going to have the blurry image underneath here. You can't see it, but this tells you that it's underneath it. I'm going to grab my history brush over here on my tools palette, and that's my brush size, which is okay. If you need to change the brush size, you can do so by using your parenthesis keys. Right one makes it larger, left one makes it smaller. Make sure your opacity is not too high. If you put it 100%, it's going to be way too blurry and you're going to turn her into kind of a mannequin. In order to get rid of those steps, go to your history palette and kind of just back your way to the first step that you had started with. So the opacity that I like to use is maybe, depending on how bad the skin is, or if it's an older person and you want to get rid of some wrinkles and stuff like that, you can use a higher opacity, but for her, 36 probably would be okay, because I'm just trying to get kind of smoothing out her skin as if, you know, we're just putting some makeup on her. She did not have professional hair and makeup done. Her skin looks pretty good, but this just will give her an added smooth out look. And I'm just kind of clicking around. I'm eliminating the eyes. I'm not going to go over the eyes. The nose, yes, if the nostrils are showing in your image, do not go over those. And don't go over the mouth or the teeth. So I'm just kind of lightly going over this. The more you go over it, the thicker your blur will be. So you don't want to really go over too much. I'm going to go over her arms a little bit. I don't know if you can see this, but I'll do it before and after later on, and you'll really be able to see the difference. I'm going to pull this in with my magnifying tool right here just to kind of see what I'm doing a little bit more. And you can see that her face is getting really smoothed out. There's my history brush right there. Okay. That's a little bit high. In between the bracelet, you don't want to really go over jewelry. She's got a little mark here on her elbow, which I will come back to. Yeah, she's young and pretty perfect, so she doesn't need too much touching up, which is good, but I'm still doing a little bit anyways just to enhance it. Okay, so I'm going to take another snapshot. I'm kind of done with that part of this right now, and I'm going to get rid of this little blemish or mark on her elbow the same way that I would get rid of a pimple or something up on, you know, someone's face. Kids come in with mosquito bites and bruises and stuff like that all the time, so I use my clone tool. And again, I'm going to enlarge my brush by using the right parenthesis key. I'm going to hit Alt, pick a sample area near the blemish that I want to just copy, and I'm going to move my cursor over and just go right on top of it. I'm going to erase that so you can see it again. Alt, you're going to click your sample area near and go on top of it. And I can go over it a couple more times just to maybe blend it out a little bit. That was okay. I'm going to erase that again by going here to my history palette. I'm going to get rid of my last two steps, because there's another cloning tool that you can use. It is called the Spot Healing Brush tool. This is the Band-Aid, and you can enlarge your brush, and actually you just have to go over your area. So if it's a blemish, a pimple, a bruise, or whatever, a marking of some sort, you just enlarge your brush to the point and it actually finds the sampling for you by you just putting your brush over it. So that's pretty cool too. I've always been pretty much just used to the clone tool, but I know lots of people that use this. They say it's a smoother look when you're covering up something. So that is the retouched version. I'm going to take another snapshot and then I'm going to show you before and after, and then I'm going to do a little fashion desaturation to it. Okay, that's the before and that's the after. I hope you can see that because that's a pretty big difference. That's the before and that's the after. So one other thing that I like to do to really give this image a pop is I'm going to go into layers and duplicate layer, image, adjust hue and saturation, and bring it all the way down to minus 100%. So it's completely black and white. However, I would never leave a black and white image just like this, and I'll do black and white another time, but this is just too gray for me. I'm going to make a snapshot. I'm going down here to my layers palette, and I'm going to hit overlay. And that's pretty cool looking anyways. It's desaturated, but I like the skin tones a little bit more peachy and cream. If you bring it all the way down to 0, there's your full color image. So I like it somewhere in between, I don't know, like 50 and 60% maybe. It still kind of looks like a colored image, but it's just, I think it's just much more fashionable and just kind of a little bit more edgy this way. So that is one of my favorite looks. I'm going to flatten the layer again. And let's see before and after. Before and after, which I think it's just a pretty hot look. And the last thing that you can do is add a border, add a sloppy edge to it. Mine is, of course it's not opened, here it is. I love this edge from the Kabuto Image Tools. Let me type it in. This is my favorite, my edge, and then just, it's gonna take a second to, it's got a couple steps to go through. But when you see the before and after image, once this edge is put on there, it's pretty cool. Now, if you don't have to buy these, you don't have to buy this, but you could definitely leave it the way it was before. But here's the before. There's the after with the edge. There's the before. There's the after without the edge. There's the after with the edge. So that looks pretty stunning, I think.